Everybody's out and about. Everybody's at the movies. Maybe they're getting an early vacation or two ahead before the summer. Maybe they're at the movies. Maybe they're watching an all-star game. Maybe they're out on ice. None of it matters to us on Sportswire Radio because we have got one of the most emerging, up-and-coming stars in this sport. And he's proving it time and time again. He's going to tell us why, because next weekend, you're going to see him in a really big match, which we promoted not too long ago with some guy you probably heard of named Jimmy freaking Controversy. On top of that, he's going to talk about a match that was officially made by TF Crew most recently, and we kind of saw the table set for it at the end of the North Haven Massacre, where he retained his TF Crew YouTube championship, and it's in a way going to be a match that I think everyone in the universe is going to want to see. Plus, he's even going to talk about something else he's doing outside the wrestling ring, but still is in the ring. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this, ladies and gentlemen. Plus, I've got a couple of announcements, maybe a surprise for our guest tonight. But I'm sure the first announcement that I'll have, he'll definitely love, and we'll have to stay tuned what the second one is. But you know what? Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a while since he's been on. He's been victorious. In a way, this is kind of his celebration. We're celebrating the weekend. We're taking it easy. Everybody's getting ready for winter to end. And let's now give our guest that championship-like introduction that he deserves and so many of his peers and colleagues have gotten, including somebody, a good buddy of his, named Jimmy freaking Controversy. But enough about all that. It's time to bring him on and give him that introduction that he's gotten before, and I guarantee you this one will be better than the last one. So with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, one more for the road. Wait for it on the Sports Report. One more time for you. And ladies and gentlemen, our reigning, defending TF Crew YouTube champion, the number one contender for the Pro Wrestling Venom Heavyweight Championship. He makes his return to the number one global radio station. His name is the Puerto Rican Prince. Santiago. The champ is here. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, that intro couldn't be better, but let me try and top it. I am the vigilant, conscientious, but at the same time pretentious man. Woo! What an introduction. I am so happy to be back here. Woo!
You know, I've been working on the intros. I mean, maybe when you get inducted into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, we'll give you a 10-minute speech, but that kind of is the norm. But I do have something for you, so you actually will be getting something. But I'll come to that in a little while. But obviously, Angel Santiago, I mean, I don't even know where to begin tonight. There's so much going on with you, and part of me says I could start next weekend. Part of me says I could definitely talk about June 15th. Part of me says we could talk about GTS, we could talk about Pro Wrestling Venom, but I'm actually, as I kind of mentioned in my intro, I'm actually going to sort of talk about something in the ring, but not in the wrestling ring, because later this week, you're going to be making your debut in a boxing ring. So Angel Santiago, for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, tell us about this announcement that you recently announced on your social media pages, where we're going to be seeing you on February the 21st in a boxing ring.
Well, I'll be telling you right now, February 21st, I will not be stepping into the boxing ring quite yet, but I will be going to the press conference for celebrity boxing in Fort Lauderdale. Oh, yes, the Ocean Manor. You will see the Puerto Rican Prince, who I'm already on the poster for the event. They're already pushing me as that guy because I am celebrity boxing's new champion. 1 million followers on Instagram. Not the first time I've wrestled on a platform with 1 million people who watch it, if you remember.
Oh, you've actually been in a number of different places. No question about that. GTS is the 7th most viewed promotion in the world. I mean, obviously, Pro Wrestling Venom. I mean, you definitely have established yourself, and you've been in the middle of some really big things, and you're the #1 contender to the Pro Wrestling Venom World Championship. But, to be on this stage and a press conference for something as big as this, people think about celebrity boxing. I remember as a kid, celebrity boxing, the early beginnings of celebrity boxing. So, I mean, talk about how big of a deal this is. I know you're obviously a big deal already, but to even be further of a big deal for you and your career, Angel Santiago, I mean, what does this mean just to be on the stage with further people that'll just, bask in your greatness?
February 21st is a catalyst for the match that I will say here will be going on April 27th. I will be boxing on April 27th in Fort Lauderdale against my opponent that will be announced.
Sure.
On Wednesday, February 21st. Now, you're asking what this means to me. And I go back to an old quote that I think of. When Mark Henry went to go challenge for the World's Strongest Man competition, Vince McMahon went to him and said, well, if you lose, what are you going to do? And I promise you right now, I am the greatest combat fighter today, and I'm just going to prove it again. I have won championships in Taekwondo. I have won championships in professional wrestling. I have won tennis championships. My backyard wrestling company was on Fox News. We just keep getting levels up. And on April 27th, you're going to see the Puerto Rican Prince on Fight TV knock my opponent the hell out.
Well, Fight TV is a big deal. And years ago, I had the pleasure to interview one of the managers of the whole thing of Fight TV, Michael Weber. It was kind of one of those, like, this is your life moments. So that's certainly a big deal to be on Fight TV. Let me ask you a question. I know you've had a lot of success in, obviously, Muay Thai, Taekwondo. You've been certainly very successful in the wrestling world, but I've had people on that have done multiple types of things, whether it's basketball players going into another sport, whether it's mixed martial arts guys going into the wrestling world. But for this, we're going to see you do in April. I mean, do you prepare differently for this than, let's say, a wrestling match? I'd just be curious about that for the audience.
It definitely takes a different approach when it comes to my training. If you want to go from the training aspect to it, I definitely shift more cardio regimen when it comes to trying to prepare for this boxing match. Obviously, I was not given like a crazy amount of time to prepare, and I still don't know my opponent because obviously nobody wants to sign the contract right now. In the payday and the belt, and if celebrity boxing was smart, they put the belt on me, just like TF Crew put me in the opportunity to get the belt, and now I'm just carrying that company further and further. It's just we all win when you invest in the Puerto Rican Prince. Come on.
Oh, for sure. No question about that. Again, celebrity boxing, everybody knows celebrity boxing, but since you don't know your opponent yet, and you talked about some of the training, and does that, I mean, I don't want to say it changes anything, but do you do anything? If you knew your opponent, let's go with this. If you knew your opponent, would you train differently already?
Yeah. I'm going to be straight up. Whoever my opponent is, I'm a stalker. I mean, I'm going to look at every one of your Instagram posts. I'm going to look at ever posted on YouTube. God forbid you posted a training video. I'm going to break that down with markers. I'll print out individual slides at my university library of your training video and just mark it down with a black Sharpie till 4 a.m. I am fucking crazy. Anybody who has any gall to step into the ring with me understands how many times I watch my own footage, never mind the footage of my opponents. I want a first-round knockout. This is a debut. I have not debuted somewhere. Oh, yeah. for a championship since I knocked Donnie Max out and took the TF Crew title. Yeah, that was the last time I debuted in a sport, when I debuted in pro wrestling. So maybe when I go into boxing and I knock my opponent out, maybe it'll prove that I am the elite combat athlete.
Absolutely, no question about that. And, you think about celebrity boxing, just going back to the early days, you think about the people that have participated in it, and even recently, you've seen Peter Guns, who's participated, and obviously Deja Vu, Uptown, and you think about also the early days, Danny Bonaducci, Vanilla Ice, I mean, Screech when he was alive. I mean, it's really, obviously Roy Jones Jr. has been involved in it. I mean, there's a lot of people in the world. I mean, you're obviously, again, you're the Puerto Rican prince, you've got this massive following, but let's say, leave aside your fight, for example, and we don't know who you're going to square off with in April, but let's say everybody else that's fighting and you're going to be there at this press conference. I have to ask you, will you be starstruck if there's like any big names that you're going to be on the stage with? I mean, whoever it be, I mean, nobody knows, right? But I have to ask kind of in a way, I mean, will you be starstruck if there's somebody like massive that we all know in the world, or you're the Puerto Rican prince and it won't faze you?
I can't let it faze me. Isn't that the part that would completely collapse me?
True.
Whether it be a civilian on the streets of, Connecticut or Miami or Fort Lauderdale or wherever the case may be, whether they're flying the person in all the way from LA, they're gonna get me the biggest star. They're gonna put the biggest person in front of me. They're gonna see if they could test me against somebody with a big following, because celebrity boxing knows that they don't just give opportunities out to anybody, that they know if they're gonna put you on Fight TV that you have to be an elite athlete, and I am that elite athlete. Whatever celebrity that they want to put in front of me, I want to make it very clear to the audience right now, there's two parts of celebrity boxing: the celebrity and the boxing. I'm the boxing. My opponent will be the celebrity.
Oh, absolutely. No question about that. I mean, people think, oh, okay, yeah, I mean, you don't prepare for it. No, I look at it like you have to prepare for it, like, in a way, more so you prepare for it because of the stage you're going to be on. Listen, and again, I know we've been on GTS. I know Pro Wrestling Venom. We're going to get into that. You've obviously been on the big stage, but it's still, you're going into a different element. So at the end of the day, you got to go out there and prepare as if, like this is on the biggest stage and just like anything else. So to me, if you don't treat it that way, and we know that you're not going to do that, we know that you're going to be prepared. We know that you're going to go and do bigger and better things than a Jake Paul, Logan Paul for sure. So obviously, if you want to follow celebrity boxing, you can do it official celebrityboxing.com. You can also check them out on Instagram as well. With them and see what happens with the Puerto Rican prince, Angel Santiago. It is the only real celebrity boxing platform. It is made in Philadelphia. It's also on Threads. It's Celebrity Boxing One. So I do have some comments. Let me say hello to some people here. Want to say hello to my buddy Ethan Sorensen. Hello, Tom and Angel. How you guys doing? We're doing great today. We're talking with the Puerto Rican prince, Angel Santiago. Life is pretty good. And, Angel, I guess before I get into some current events, I guess obviously, we're obviously giving announcements. We're certainly, giving, certainly in a giving mood, and we're certainly, celebrating all the things that you've done. I've decided to actually celebrate you in a way that you have no idea that I'm going to celebrate you on as. So I've got something for you. Obviously you get all your, stuff all the time. You're always used to winning championships. You're used to everybody giving you praise and signing autographs and always being with your fans and the ladies. But I was wondering, as the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportzwire Radio, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters, the Reverend Tom Bryce, the Puerto Rican prince, Angel Santiago, could I present to you something on air only if you'd accept?
Of course. I mean, how could I not accept from such a professional like yourself? I mean, please.
Well, I promise you, you're gonna like this. So for those that are listening and watching, drum roll, please. I'm gonna actually pull it up on the screen because I've done this so often now at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, so let's take this off the screen. On February the 17th, 2024, it is acknowledged on all Sportswire radio platforms that is the Puerto Rican prince, Angel Santiago Day. So it doesn't matter whether it's Instagram at the Sports Report 2021, Tumblr at Sportswire Radio, Twitter at Thomas Bryce 2017, Facebook at Sportswire Radio, sportswireradio.org, Twitch at Sportswire Radio. And of course, on our flagship YouTube at Sportswire Radio 6579, we have presented to you something, Angel Santiago, for all of your success over the past year. Obviously, wishing you all the best coming up in April. Obviously, when we want to talk about the fight when it gets announced, obviously, we would love to certainly get in the mind of what to expect. We know you're going to have a first round knockout for sure at the expense of your opponent. But on this day here, you have my logo, my John Hancock, all of our information there. And on this date, on the 17th of February, all Sportswire Radio platforms. This day is yours, Angel. Congratulations. And I will make sure that you get this personally sent to you when we're off the air. And maybe the next time you come on the show, when you get ready for the fight coming up in Philadelphia, we'll have maybe a ceremony or two for you for the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. How does that sound?
I can't thank you enough, Mr. Host. Mr. Host, you have just personally made my entire day right now. You have completely dedicated the day to the Puerto Rican Prince. It's been so long since we had a Puerto Rican Prince Appreciation Day. February 17th it is.
You know, I looked at it like we gave a day to Jack Delta, and obviously Jack Delta is a big deal. We've given days to people who have been athletes and Hall of Famers, people who have played in the college basketball Final Four, but we wanted to do it differently because now you're going to have your career to become the next Jake Paul, the next Logan Paul. We wanted to get you now because I realize if I don't give you a day on February 17th, could be April, May, certainly after June 15th. I mean, you're going to be so big that we'll have to take months in advance to book you. So we wanted to make sure we make this happen now because I have a feeling in a few months, you're going to be so big, like I said, that you're going to forget you came on Sportswire Radio and that you'll certainly have gone on and do bigger and better interviews. And I have no doubt that's in your future. That's why we wanted to honor you now while we had the chance, my friend.
I so appreciate it, and the high words of praise. I can't thank you enough. And I mean, I will be back on Sportswire Radio for the rest of my career because that's been shown for just things like you've done like this.
Well, I appreciate that. Obviously, we'll keep this on the screen here for a few minutes, but let's talk about some current events here. We have a show coming up next weekend. You've been a huge part of things in Pro Wrestling Venom and obviously GTS, and you're a part of Team Pro Wrestling Venom, and I've been following that against GTS. And tell us what we can expect upcoming next Sunday, and I'm excited because it's obviously here in Jersey. And for the audience listening, tell us how big this is for you to be on the stage here live out there in Gloucester, New Jersey.
There is an absolutely enormous platform I've been allowed to be on now. I am a part of Masty, who's our captain for Pro Wrestling Venom. It is myself, as I said, Masty. We have Gangsta X, Ray Lewis, and Behemoth. And we are going against Team GTS at Worlds Collide. And I promise you right now that Pro Wrestling Venom will reign supreme, just like boss man Jimmy Controversy is going to beat the piss out of Mikey Anarchy and take all 4 belts, 2 UWF, 1 GTS, oh yeah, and the Pro Wrestling Venom world title.
You know, this is a big deal for a couple of reasons, and we're going to get to your, obviously, personal issues with Mr. Anarchy in a few minutes, but to the fact that you think about a big show like this, GTS and Venom, 2 of the biggest companies around in this sport and on YouTube, obviously, the following is as big as it's going to get, and to the fact that Jimmy, and you know how much we love Jimmy on Sportswire, we dedicated a day to Jimmy, and Jimmy even put it out there on Pro Wrestling Venom TV, and what Jimmy has been to us on this platform, and to see Jimmy have the opportunity to kind of unify all these championships. I know where your allegiance is in this match. And I mean, talk about how big of a deal, because it's very rare in this sport that you see the opportunity where 4 championships can kind of be unified and it's winner take all in that sense. That's a really big deal. And I'm surprised that Jimmy's even doing it in this, knowing Jimmy and his kind of history with this. I mean, talk to me about all this.
Jimmy knows the weight that the GTS Intercontinental Championship holds.
Yep.
Jimmy knows the weight that being in the main event and having 4 titles on the line, 2 of such a prestigious company that had such an honor to work for with UWF. You have the Pro Wrestling Venom World Heavyweight title, and he is killing it as that champion. And on top of that as well, you are putting him in a match with somebody who he absolutely despises.
Oh my God, these guys have been going back and forth for months. I mean, months and months. I mean, it's really. I mean, I've even seen it in other states across the country that these guys have basically been going back and forth with each other.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And Jimmy is a smart man who knows when to give people their opportunities, not when they bitch and complain. But guess what? Now Jimmy's going to teach him something. He's going to win all those titles. I will help Pro Wrestling Venom win the 5v5, and Pro Wrestling Venom is going to make a clean sweep on the day.
How big of a show it is for you next weekend, knowing that there's so much on the line? You've obviously accomplished a lot. Yes, we've spoke about it in the past. You've been on here, but now you've got an opportunity to represent Pro Wrestling Venom, Team Venom, get a huge victory. Jimmy and Grim have been feuding for ages. So, I mean, to the fact that you could really be the straw that stirs the drink and giving Pro Wrestling Venom some huge bragging rights. And on top of that, Jimmy can settle a score against a longtime nemesis of his. I mean, this has got to be one of the biggest weekends of your career upcoming, no?
It's one of the. I'm taking my private jet all the way from Miami to bumfuck New Jersey just so I could be on this team, just so I could help Boss Man out, and just so that I can scout that end of that match. Now, I've been holding on to my #1 contendership of the Pro Wrestling Venom world title because I know that the second that anyone wants to come after Jimmy, I am that gate, and I will close the gate at GTS on February 25th. I promise you that.
You said something interesting, and I want to talk about that. That's kind of a great segue. Certainly, Mikey and Jimmy, we've had them both on the show simultaneously. Jimmy's been on here multiple times. I've had Mikey on, and that kind of segues to you and Mikey in a way because you are the #1 contender to the Pro Wrestling Venom Championship. I'll come back to that, but you've also got a score to settle with Mikey Anarchy, June the 15th. TF Crew second live show this year, Death Row, where you're putting up that YouTube championship up against Mikey Anarchy. And I'm curious because after your match where you successfully retained your championship via countout against Obey, Mikey Anarchy was sitting in the crowd. He was sitting there and he seemed to be, at least from what I saw, minding his business. But you took the microphone and you called out Mikey Anarchy. You forced him into the ring. Obviously, the universe did their best to basically kind of hold him down, and he was able to ultimately get back up, and he even did a Vader bomb, and he seemed like he reigned supreme there, and you left. But I'm curious, why did you call out Mikey Anarchy?
Well, first, I would like to say that I did retain my TF Crew YouTube world title against Obey. And in the just divine words of Paul Heyman, some people have kept Obey down for 3, but that's a whole nother thing to get down for 10.
Well, you beat him at his own game, by the way. Early in the match, you're getting some color there, and he's actually, it seemed like, was he like licking the blood of his own? I don't know what he was doing there. That was that weird spot where you took all that color, and I was like, oh my God, like what? I don't know if, I think even the commentator was like, I don't know if I've seen that before. And yet you kind of were able to beat him at his own game by kind of tying him to ringside, I think with his own object, and he couldn't pull through. And that's how you got the 10.
Well, actually, first of all, he fucking stabbed me. So let's get that straight. He fucking stabbed me, and I'm gonna move past that. But I was smart and I was intelligent. And of course, Harvey and I, being the masterminds that we are, I poured holy water down his throat.
I did see that. Yes, the holy water was rather interesting.
That is why if you could see too, my plans are just beautifully genius. Did you see the play calling? Boom, tell Christopher to get up on the top rope. Boom, Kobo and Lucas grab Obey. Boom, hand me the holy water. Get on top, tie him up, pour the holy water down. Yes, I will admit, I thought I tore my ACL, so I was in a pretty bad spot, and I almost didn't make the 10 count myself, but
Yeah, it was really close. I mean, my first thought was, is this match going to end on a double count out? Yet it was like, I think it was it 9? You just got in the ring. It was like 8, 9. Like, you literally just got in there.
But just made it to retain my world title. Now I diverged off the question. And the question was, why did I call out Mikey Anarchy?
Yeah.
Now, there was a line before I had even mentioned Mikey, and that it was that my father was there. My
Okay.
father was one of the most important people in my life, and he looked disgusted at the deathmatch bullshit display that Mikey
And
and
Brock.
was putting on with Brax. And I have watched far, far too many of his tube shows, and I snapped, I guess. And I genuinely hate his form of wrestling. I hate the illegitimacy it brings to what I love. I hate his way of thinking about wrestling. I hate that he's on the same shows that I am. I hate that he's main evented shows that I haven't for reasons that I can't even fathom. But all I know now is that I will beat Mikey Anarchy. I will beat him on June 15th. I promise you that.
Why don't you like deathmatch wrestling?
It's an abomination. It's an abomination to my sport. It's an you said it yourself. When we could go back to our last interview where you said, I didn't know the TF Crew title existed before you held it. Well, guess what was happening before I held this belt? A lot of deathmatch bullshit. Because guess the two people who held this belt? Death Wish Gabe Sayers and Deathmatch Tube Cube Mikey. And guess what? The brand didn't go anywhere. And look where we are today.
Well, listen, you're going to be at a press conference for Celebrity Boxing. You're going to fight into it. You're obviously going to be a part of Team Venom for sure. There's no question that I look at the notoriety of the company. We always look at who's on top. It all starts, the buck stops here is the old adage. And you have shown as being the champion, the top dog, that the TF Crew, look at the show we had, North Haven Massacre last month, highly successful. It started the year and we saw all the stuff there. But, Mikey Anarchy is a guy that he's been on the big stage too. Mikey Anarchy has had a lot of success. And, are you sure though that you're confident and that you're going to eradicate Mikey Anarchy? Because I had him on here and he's a little bit more methodical than Obey. Obviously, yes, you beat Obey at his own game. Maybe Obey should have brought the gun with him like he was on here on Sportswire. He brought the knife instead, but it should have been the gun. But Mikey Anarchy, you mentioned it. He's the GTS Intercontinental Champion. He's the UWF World Champion. I mean, this is a guy that he's been on the bigger stages longer than you have. He's going to be unfazed. If you look at it, Obey, sure, Obey has had gold. Yes, he was recently the Pro Wrestling Venom World Champion. But Mikey Anarchy, I mean, his name carries a little bit more weight, I tend to think, in some ways. I mean, are you confident on June the 15th that you're going to finally, once and for all, put to bed, let's say, as some people might say, glorified stuntmen, glorified hardcore, a.k.a. deathmatch wrestlers, let's say Sports Center bump machines like Mikey Anarchy once and for all?
I'm going to, and I'll respond to this part of your question.
Yeah.
I'm in no way denying that Mikey Anarchy has been on large stages. I'm in no way denying that Mikey Anarchy has gotten to large spots. But let's not forget that he won that fucking Intercontinental Championship off opening a present.
He did.
Let's
Can't
not
deny it.
Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that he won the Uncivilized Championship, or he won, the UWF World Championship because Mike Fatality let him pin someone. So let's talk about the fact that maybe there's some opportunity gap between Mikey Anarchy and I. Maybe it's not the name recognition, because it seems that when I came to Florida, I main evented the Space Coast State Fair. I have wrestled for other independent Florida companies who have given me opportunities. I'm about to be on Fight TV. I'm the #1 contender for the championship that he's now fighting for, when I won that opportunity before he got that opportunity. How does that make any sense?
So I'm gonna follow up with a question, and you tell me your thoughts on it. Are you telling me in a way that you've actually been respected because you're the guy that's accomplished all these things. You're going to be in that press conference 4 days from now. You're the one that's going to be fighting for celebrity boxing. You're the one that's been on Fox News. You're the one that's been there in these massive state fairs that have drawn thousands of spectators. You're the one that's earned all the earning engagements, all the earned media. So do you feel in a way that you've actually been disrespected through all of this?
I feel that I will get my opportunity when my opportunity comes. And I also know that I will take my opportunity when my opportunity arises. Jimmy right now needs to handle Mikey in his own way. And
so that was going to be my follow-up before I get to some more comments. My follow-up was obviously next Sunday, your team controversy all the way over Anarchy.
100%. 100%.
And you're the number one contender to the Pro Wrestling Venom Championship. So your vested interest would be to see Mr. Anarchy go down, correct?
My vested interest is to see that Mikey Anarchy shows me his biggest weakness in that match. Mikey Anarchy, I will admit, through all of his faults and all of the stupid, dumb stuff that he does, I will admit he does not show a lot of weakness. But if there's one man who has just cracked the armor just a little bit of Mikey, it's Jimmy.
No, I would agree with that. I think that
he gets every time Jimmy gets mentioned, how angry he gets when Jimmy makes decisions. And I need to understand why. And when I spectate that match and I see them wrestle and I truly understand, I will be able to make that chink in his armor a complete crack and break.
If I say we look at the history of the TF crew, I know you've obviously not been there since the inception, but a lot of people would look at TF crew and they would say the reason that TF crew is where it is right now really is because of the involvement of Mikey Anarchy. How does that make you feel?
I mean, like, but by what standard, though, are we talking about?
The standard would be that he's brought them sort of credibility in that, yes, you've done a lot. But in terms of he's the guy that, you know what, put TF crew on a place. If you're a wrestling fan, if you're a hardcore wrestling fan, or as we say on Sportswire, all wrestling matters, I mean, all types of wrestling fans, he's a name that wrestling fans in the know who he is. TF crew, even with all the things Gabe Sayers has done, even with all the things you've done in terms of the publicity that you've given this company, just him being involved has kept that company going, which you represent, and on top of that, put the company on the map. How does that make you feel? Because you're the current top guy right now.
I think by any standard, every event that TF Crew has ever run, I've been to.
Correct.
I've run double duty on TF Crew events. I took the TF Crew title away from somebody who was making the brand illegitimate and stupid.
We don't even know where he is right now. Yep, we haven't even. It wouldn't even waste my breath in mentioning him. I agree.
Nope. And all that I saw in that entire time is that Mikey's had 2 matches in TF Crew.
His most recent one he lost. I mean, that's why I'm kind of still perplexed that you called him out, because shouldn't you have called out Brax instead?
I could have. And to be quite frank with you, I
mean, Brax deserves a title shot against you, and Brax has also established himself in the Connecticut wrestling scene. If you were going to prove a point to say, let's eradicate deathmatch wrestling, I'm not going to exactly say the profanity word used because we're a family station. I don't want to get thrown off my radio brand, but the facts are you can say whatever you want, but Brax, wouldn't you make more of a statement by going after him and sending that signal that you want to get rid of the type of wrestling that you despise?
I have a different issue with Mikey Anarchy because he completely doesn't deserve some of the things that I still am mad that he's the GTS Intercontinental Champion. I mean, look, and he doesn't even care that then Rad Dad's running around with another championship that looks exactly like his. I think Mikey Anarchy constantly lets himself be disrespected by other people in this industry. And then he thinks that disrespect turns into opportunity, and it has. He opened a present, whoa, and became a champion. He was literally looked at Mike, and Mike Fatale said, "Oh, pin him! Oh, yeah, he's the UWF World Champion! Woo! Well, look at what I had to do. I got fucking stabbed. I got stabbed in my face.
You
By a
did.
demon.
No. Listen,
And then
and you
barbed
can
wire.
watch it on the TF Crew YouTube page at TF Crew 69. They've got almost 2,000 subscribers. Go support them. But I have to ask you. I mean, for a man that's done so much, I would even say, still, why bother going against this man? You're a traditionalist at heart. You're a man that certainly loves this sport of wrestling. Wouldn't you want to test your might against some of the more traditional grapplers, some of the grapplers in this sport who kind of have learned it from the basics, the ground up, and Mikey Anarchy again. Some people now again, I love what everybody does, but some people look at Mikey Anarchy and say he's a glorified stuntman. A guy like you doesn't seem like you'd want to go out there and wrestle a glorified stuntman to prove a point.
No, and I don't do stunts, but I'll go back to the point that you said before, that there are still people who view the TF Crew channel who are older fans, who are this just foundation of just crybabies who just want to see me lose for some reason. And I just don't understand. And for some reason, they have this attachment to Mikey Anarchy. And I need to beat Mikey Anarchy to take out the foundation of this company so that I could just keep rebuilding it in my own image. That's all I've done. I had to destroy the, yeah, you're right. I'm not even going to mention his name. The last person who held this title so that I could break away. I am the Mount Rushmore of this company. Just because there's other little heads on that mountain doesn't mean that I'm not chipping off their fucking face.
Let me ask you a follow-up question, which I didn't ask you the first time, and I promise I'll get to people in a second, but you're the guy, right? You're the top dog. You're the guy that makes this engine go. You're the guy that's been there at every live event. You were the guy that main evented the historic show that we just saw in Meriden, Connecticut at the North Haven Massacre. You're the guy that's going to main event once again. You're the guy that's going to be out there at Celebrity Boxing. You're the guy that's going to be a part of Team Venom. How would you like to remake TF Crew?
I want to make TF Crew perfect.
It's your company. You're the top guy. So obviously, we can clearly see there's a certain style and there's your style. So as the top guy, obviously, you should have a lot of say. Gabe Sayers, I'm going to get to him in a few minutes, but it's your company, and it's usually how this goes in this sport. Let's be real. We all know it. The top guy certainly can creatively express what he'd like to see the company that he's putting on his back. So as the top guy, Angel Santiago, the man that's been mentioned in millions of homes, the man that's been mentioned in the breadths of thousands of wrestling fans, how would you like to remake this company?
This company should be in the image of those who are able to portray themselves as stars. Christopher Black is a star.
Logan
Lucas Brysu is a star.
Harvey
Hobo is a star. These are just names that haven't had the proper investment. And what I want TF Crew to be is an investment. Brax, although a great hardcore fighter in his own right, and I'm not denying that in the slightest, was not an investment long term. Me bringing out Kobo in the main event as a part of the syndicate, that was a long-term investment. That's a long-term play, as we say in the film industry. That is a long-term decision that I'm realizing. And did you notice? Did he come out in a sweatshirt? Did he come out looking like a bum?
No.
Did he have sneakers on like Pastor? No. He had a bow tie. He was dressed in a suit, and he looked like he meant something. I surround myself with people who mean something. And don't get me wrong, I want everyone to mean something in TF Crew, but I got to knock out these pillars of nastiness so that we are able to form a company of stars, of people who walk around in suits, who make money, who elevate this company to the point where we can have so many more crowd shows, that we can develop our brand into a way that's never been done before. And I promise you, I will head that ship still. I had to knock out Leonidas out of that foundation. I had to knock.
I'm surprised you even mentioned him. He
was a part of it, though. He was a part of the foundation. I guarantee.
Okay, no, I agree. I agree. I mean, look, I think that what we've learned is with whether you think of them good, bad, or indifferent, guys, in your opinion, like Obey, guys like Brax, guys like Hardcore even, and guys certainly like Mikey Anarchy are not the guys that you want to see going forward in the TF crew to grow this company to even further heights. I think that's what I've learned here tonight on Sportswire Radio. But I digress. I will move on here. I have a lot of comments here. I want to say hello to my good buddy, Mr. Joseph Tibbs, who is from Resurrection Wrestling. They had their show Lockdown that took place earlier today. How you doing, Mr. Tibbs? I look forward to watching the show on YouTube. I know there was some issues. We were trying to check it out on TikTok, but I understand that some of those issues will be worked upon. We'll get a chance to watch it on their YouTube page very soon. Want to say hello to Jules NYC. Congratulations, Angel. Thank you very much. Congratulations. I'll come back to Ethan on his question about favorite match because I think that those matches to me are an open-ended question, but we are on Sportswire Radio. And if you are on YouTube, I would hope you hit that sub button for the TF Crew 69, where you can watch Angel Santiago in the main event of the last show, the first show of 2024 against Obey, where he successfully retained his TF Crew YouTube championship. You can also watch other syndicate members and the rest of the TF Crew card. You saw Jimmy Controversy was in action. Braxton, Mikey Anarchy. You saw Gabe Sayers, and Gabe Sayers made an announcement not too long ago. So all that great stuff. Check it out on the TF Crew YouTube page. You also shout out to the TF Crew because they actually streamed last night's podcast of legendary WWF greats Paul Roma and Mario Mancini. Very cool. I had a chance to watch that podcast before I went on the air and streamed my first ever live match. So make sure you support the TF Crew. You also want to support Angel Santiago, the Puerto Rican Prince, because he's on a number of different platforms. He's at _Angel the Prince Santiago. Also, YouTube, the PR Prince Angel, and his Patreon page. So if you want to really support him, that might be the best way going forward to do it. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters. If you're on Sportswire Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, we have an internet radio station called sportswireradio.org, where if you have a podcast, if you want to play live music, if you want to have your voice heard on a worldwide radio, free of charge, I'll help you make those dreams come true. So check us out there anytime. We're also on YouTube at Sportswire Radio 6579. And if you want to check out our past and present TF Crew shows, you can check that out here. Plus, in a little while, I'm going to have an announcement for more TF Crew coverage tomorrow night. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. And I know Mr. Santiago, he's going to definitely be curious about that announcement because he has no idea what that announcement is. As a matter of fact, nobody else does. And you might see me on later tonight, if not later tomorrow, actually doing commentary on my second match. So you might want to stay tuned for that as well because we did our first match yesterday. We do our second match possibly tonight. So stay tuned for all those things. But we are here with the Puerto Rican Prince, Angel Santiago, who's also going to be in the ring, it looks like, for sure on June 15th, defending his YouTube championship against Mikey Anarchy. But we know he's going to be at February 21st, huge press conference for Celebrity Boxing. I can't wait for that anthem here. Okay, so obviously, I brought up a name that you certainly have, let's say, controversy with, more or less. And Gabe Sayers, the man that runs TF Crew. And, Gabe Sayers seems to make your life a living hell. And, Gabe Sayers, obviously, what would you want to say to him should Mr. Sayers be out there listening here on Sportswire Radio?
I will say this. Him and I are in a better, not great, better position. He has seen the logic of investing in me after the Obey match. It seems he's taken these glasses he sent to me, which was very nice.
They look fancy. I mean, you definitely didn't get those at Sunglass Hut, I could tell you that much.
No. I mean, he definitely went all out for these, and I'll admit he's been. I mean, if you saw on the Pro Wrestling Venom poster, He was coming out to manage me. In addition to doing his own match, he managed me when I main evented the CZW Arena versus Gangster X, where I won my number one contendership for the Pro Wrestling Venom title.
That was a little weird to me. I will not lie. When I saw him managing you for that match, I was like, that was still strange to me.
It was strange being in the moment there, but he's enhanced a part of the Puerto Rican Prince that I feel has not been tapped into in a minute. And I'll admit, I gotta kick his boy's ass in Mikey Anarchy.
They have a long-term relationship, though. Is that going to really further twist or kind of strain your new sort of relationship? Because we know, really, again, I mentioned kind of the early origins of TF Crew really goes back to social media between Mikey Anarchy and Gabe Sayers. I mean, is this going to strain the relationship that you seem to be building with Mr. Sayers?
Honestly, it seems that Gabe will have a choice whether he wants to make money with me like he has been. I mean, look how many people are on the last event. Look at what has happened since I won the title at the Bash. Look how many shows he's been able to do. Look how many subscribers we have, how many more sponsors we have.
Just about 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. I saw a lot of local businesses supporting the event here that took place in January. We're having another show in June. I think it shows that the company has really got a sound going forward plan that I think that the company is going to thrive for sure. And you, again, as I stated a little while ago, you're at the top of all of it.
Yes, and I think that that's the key there is that Gabe has made it. He has taken the success that I have brought with victories and has applied it further to making the entire company better. And now TF Crew is, I mean, at the top of pro wrestling in Connecticut. It's showing what wrestling can be, how a show can be different. And, you know, him and I disagree on certain things back and forth, but as long as he keeps paying me, as long as he keeps sending the nice things to his champion, as long as he just stays the hell out of me, out of my way, and getting my hands on Mikey Anarchy and retaining my TF Crew world title, then I think that him and I will just have a blissful relationship.
Let me ask you a question, and not to poke too much into that relationship's hole a little bit, but do you think that Mr. Sayers, that this could have been avoided months ago, and from the get-go, Mr. Sayers should have acknowledged what you've brought to the table since being the TF Crew champion last summer? Do you think that this should have been really recognized, I don't know, 6-7 months ago when you won the title?
I think that Gabe should have realized it the second that he signed me on to take over from the previous champion. And he knew that I was going to knock that guy out. That's why Gabe hadn't done many interviews before that, because he knew what the result was going to be. I think that Gabe has now realized that every time I win, the company's results also go up.
Hey, you're the top guy. No, there's no question that being the top guy, that the buck stops here with you. There's just no question that that's undeniable. I mean, any company's promotion, they look at who's the champion. They look at who's the guy that's there when it comes to everything that happens, for lack of a better words, in the company. So no denying that.
Nah, I mean, that's the truth. It's the fact that Gabe Sayers can see now the money's rolling in, I'm rolling in the wins. Let's just make it symbiotic. And the only way that we will get less symbiotic is if he gets in the way of me getting my hands on Mikey, as I said. So as long as he just steps off, steps away, and lets me handle the business of this company, we'll be fine.
Why would you say that he should basically kind of step out of the way with Mikey? Do you think that he's going to be blinded by his personal relationship with Mikey Anarchy over the years? So
Yeah.
why?
But Mikey had one win against a fucking jobber on an episode of Unhinged. What gave him the right to fight Brax? Nothing. What gives Mikey the fucking right to be on the power rankings with one win? Nothing.
I'll tell you why that was, and I think that's basically the question that I asked you about 20 minutes ago. The reason that is because of his name. His name exceeds or supersedes his win-loss record, or who he has or who he hasn't wrestled. It's just basically what that comes down to. And some people said, listen, Paul Roma last night on his podcast said, wins and losses don't matter. Match counts don't matter. So what matters really, since Mr. Sayers is a disciple of Paul Roma and Mario Mancini, fair to say that, right? So in his mindset, which he's learning from Roma and Mancini, is going to be that match count doesn't matter. Wins and losses is just a subliminal stat. And Mikey Anarchy is getting the shot, and he's getting the big name matches is because of who he is. Simple as that.
So shouldn't it be as simple as that answers your question that you had asked me before?
Pretty much.
Mikey Anarchy, what changes do you want to make? I don't care what you did in any other place other than TF Crew. When this title is on the line, I'm knocking down names and I'm bringing up faces. And that's what I'm doing. I got to keep knocking down all these names in the TF Crew that keep getting thrown around, and maybe that will set the foundation straight so that the Puerto Rican Prince can move forward with his title reign, so that the TF Crew can move forward from people like the Obey, like Mikey Anarchy, like all these people who have laid pillars down who don't mean shit. I have to beat all these names, and then we can start to rebuild the TF Crew.
Let me ask you this, and I want to say hello to our general manager in Resurrection Wrestling, Steven Silvestri. Steven, how you doing out there? I look forward to watching Lockdown on YouTube when the show is put up. But let me ask you a question, and I don't know how personal or how much you've thought about this question. I know we have a long time and ways to go until June the 15th, and something tells me that Mr. Anarchy will have his side of the story on Sportswire Radio before then. But is the TF Crew big enough for Mikey Anarchy and the Puerto Rican Prince, Angel Santiago?
Not unless, no, because I refuse to continue to main event cards that Mikey Anarchy just chooses to bleed all over. So no. There's no room for the two of us. Maybe we are just two big-ass dogs, and this is just too small of a yard that I'm trying to make bigger. And isn't that the worst part? When you hear all these other people come on your show, right, and you interview them about the TF Crew, nobody talks about making the brand better. Nobody talks about expanding the bounds. Everyone just talks about, I'm gonna kick the Puerto Rican Prince's ass.
I'll even go further than that. We have guys all the time come on the show. For example, Omen Black, Soldier GP. For example, Sean Jovi. For example, James Taylor, even Jack Delta. I can go up and down the list of people in the underground or in the yard, and they never bring up the Puerto Rican Prince, Angel Santiago. But when I talk with them, the name that comes up all the time in their mouth is Mikey Anarchy, for example. It's never Angel Santiago. It's always, I want to test my strength against Mikey Anarchy. Dream opponent of mine is Mikey Anarchy. I love to see who's the most hardcore, Mikey Anarchy. It's never, okay, the pound-for-pound guy who's got the best technical skills, the guy who's got the mixed martial arts background, the guy that's going in to fight celebrity boxing, the guy that's been in millions of homes already and won big matches, Angel Santiago. Your name never gets mentioned when I speak with all these different guys. It never happens.
Well, it's because you're talking about people who appreciate and love hardcore wrestling more than anything. And don't get me wrong, for the type of people who like that type of thing, that's the thing those people like. And I don't have any denying that it has a place anywhere outside of my company. And all of those guys you mentioned, nobody knows them. Paul Roma doesn't know them. Mario Mancini doesn't know them. Fight TV doesn't know them. But all three of those things that I just mentioned, they all know me. Paul Roma knows me. Mario Mancini knows me. Fight TV is about to have me as their debut. Celebrity Boxing knows me. The Florida independent scene knows me. The Connecticut independent scene knows me. The Philly independent scene knows me. Is that when all these people mention me, they don't want to mention the fact that I guess I don't want to sit in a backyard with them and hit tubes. You know why? Because all those mentioned DM me on Instagram already and tried to get me to go to their stupid companies, and they couldn't pay me enough.
That's certainly, understandable. So let me ask you then, Jimmy Controversy, obviously a man that you get along with, and obviously you've been certainly talking to him a lot. What advice has Jimmy given to you before I bring up a comment of somebody's in a second? But what advice does Jimmy give you regularly?
Jimmy's an extremely good leader who understands athleticism equals talent, and when you apply hard work to that, you literally get a diamond. And as Jimmy keeps applying pressure and putting me in different situations in Pro Wrestling Venom, he continues to apply pressure to what will become a diamond. And I promise you right now, I am coming for that Pro Wrestling Venom Heavyweight Championship. I am Jimmy's insurance policy.
Well, I'm going to say, and I don't know if I'm going to break the fourth wall or not, but I'm going to say it anyway. Mr. Controversy, he's praised you up and down. I mean, I've spoken to the man quite a bit, and he says, Angel Santiago, he says he sees big things from you. He certainly sees, in some ways, himself early on, and he thinks that the sky is the limit for you. And Mr. Controversy has told me that personally, that he sees a lot in you. So obviously, you're kind of like a blue chip prospect to him almost.
I think that that's why he's invested in me. I think that's why he's chosen to put me into opportunities where I can succeed. And you've seen when I am put into opportunities where I can succeed, I do. I got an opportunity for this belt.
You've won on the big stage. Listen, I mean, there's no denying the fact that you've been on GTS. There's no denying that you've been in Pro Wrestling Venom. You've had success, and you know nobody can deny that. All the people that I mentioned, right, when they wanted challenges with Mikey Anarchy, they've never been on the stage you've been in. They've never been on that stage and had that success. So at the end of the day, I mean, you're the guy, but somebody does want to say something to you, and his name is Gabe Sayers. And he says, hey, Angel, surprise. Anything that you might want to say to Mr. Sayers?
My flight lands at 1 a.m., so I would be there like 15 minutes early.
Will you be expecting someone to carry your bags for you when you get in from the flight? Will you be expecting somebody to?
No,
I don't want to say.
Well, I guess I'll just pay some homeless person to take my bag. I'll be nice.
Well, that's very nice of you these days. We have a major homeless problem in this country, and it's very nice to see that you're trying to eradicate that. I guess this might be a good time for me to have an announcement that you certainly might be curious of. Speaking of Mr. Sayers, Mr. Sayers is actually coming back to Sportswire Radio. As a matter of fact, he's coming tomorrow night. He's coming here live, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and he's going to talk about the future of the TF crew. He's going to talk about what we saw at the North Haven Massacre. He's going to talk about Death Row, and he's also going to talk about his own return to the ring. And speaking of Mr. Sayers, you know, it's almost a two for the price of one announcement because actually I'm going to pull him up right here live on Sportswire Radio. Yep, I'm going to take this off the screen and bring him right here. Gabe Sayers, the man with a plan, the man that knows how to run a company. I'm going to give him the floor. Gabe, how you doing? Welcome back. Can't wait to see you tomorrow, but this is a unexpected surprise. So what would you like to say to Mr. Santiago? I know you've heard a lot tonight from the Puerto Rican Prince.
I've been really nice.
Puerto Rican Prince. He's been a good little dog so far. That's what he knows how to be, a good little lap dog, you know.
Half decent.
Right. He behaved when, you know, he gets trained. He behaves when he wants to. I just want to say, Mr. Puerto Rican Prince, I heard that you got that flight to Philly, right? And you're going to be there for the Pro Wrestling Venom XGTS show, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted you to know I already arranged your pickup. I already got everything settled with the flight. So you're all good for that, right?
My man,
see, you know that's good. Right? I'm picking you up. So we're gonna have a fantastic time. We're gonna have a fantastic time because I'm picking you up. Let me tell you, I'm a little sore, dude. I've been working out a lot lately. I've been putting on the pounds. I don't think I can carry your bag, so you're gonna have to get those yourself. And the car, I don't know if you know what kind of car we're driving. We don't have a limousine. We don't have a BMW. We don't even have a fucking Hyundai. We don't got a Honda. Brother in Christ, we have my 2005 Nissan Murano with brakes that work when they want to work. You know what I mean? So I'm picking you up in my premium vehicle.
Tommy Dreamer bump card on there. Holy shit.
That's what I'm saying. So you're going to have the time of your life when I come to pick you up. And, you know, Mr. Puerto Rican Prince, yes, we're both on Team Venom. You know, Venom, you know, your little thing like that. Yeah, we're both Team Venom, so I'll expect you enough for that.
The Venom thing. I did like the Venom chant.
So don't worry. We're both Team Venom, and so I'll respect you. The moment that GTS X Pro Wrestling Venom Super Show ends, though, is, you know, we're just competitors on Venom, competitors against each other, and I want you to remember that. Because I know you claim I've been ducking and dodging you for all these years. You think I've been going all around. let's be real now. I'm back. So you think that I'm this, easy fresh picking. I'm this, I'm the new fucking I'm back and easy first kill, right? I want you to prove it to me. Pro Wrestling Venom, GTS, TF Crew. Fuck it, I don't care where and I don't care when. I'll go down to Florida. I can buy flights too. I could pay the $70 to go down to Miami. Let's not act like these are expensive tickets, Puerto Rican Prince. So anytime, anywhere, we can have a lot of fun.
I wanted to pull the screen up so you guys could be a little closer because I think it's good when we can kind of see all that kind of come right up front because this is going to be, I'm sure, an early preview. But Mr. Santiago, the floor is yours.
I'm here to break start.
I mean, look, you know what? You know what I'll say? Venom wife, you're doing great right now. I'm wearing the jacket that I let you borrow so that you could be in the CZW arena. So you know what? Let's do this whole dance on Saturday. Let's party the night away when Team Pro Wrestling Venom wins and we conquer Team GTS. You know what? Maybe, you know what? You should win. You should win the GTS United States Championship. I would love another belt around my waist because I've been carrying one company for a while, so why not another? While you've been getting surgery, I elevated your company pro. So guess what? If you want to step in the ring with somebody who has 30 plus pounds on you and hasn't had an ounce of surgery, let's go. But I don't know where it would be or when or why, but all you got to do is write the check, book the flight, and get me there, and I will whoop your ass. But until then, I'll see you Saturday.
You're right. And Santiago, I won't take up your time anymore on the show because trust me, I know that when I hop on to Sportzwire tomorrow, I know I'll draw you.
6:30 p.m. Eastern.
6:30 p.m. Eastern. I know I'll draw you without even having to try, so it's all right. I won't try to take up any more of your time. Don't worry, Mr. Santiago, because I'll be back here to talk my shit tomorrow. I'm gonna let you have your time. I do just want you to remember though, just one crucial small detail. Okay, listen, my body, my heart, you can say whatever you want about it, but it runs on adrenaline, it runs on defiance, and it runs on violence. You run on shitty, cheap tequila and shit-ass vodka like Dubra. So let's just remember that while you're a dehydrated, drunk mess, I am what's coming up next. So, again, thank you very much.
Tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, if you're here for the first time and you haven't subbed to the TF Crew YouTube page, please do so. TF Crew 69 on their most recent video they uploaded. It's how about this? Mario Mancini, Paul Roma, two WWF legends in the Northeast wrestling scene. They did a podcast and they literally talked about everything there is to know in this business. And if you're a wrestling fan, I stumbled upon it and it was like one of the best podcasts I've ever seen. And I watched hundreds and listens to hundreds of podcasts. It was that good. Go to TF Crew 69, watch it, but also watch their most recent show, North Haven Massacre, on it. Also watch the video made where you see Gabe's in it, obviously Angel Santiago and Mikey Anarchy. Just go there and sub. It's a great company, not too far from us here in Connecticut. Mr. Sayers is going to be back with us tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time to talk about all that. Mr. Sayers, I know you're a busy man getting ready for business meetings and everything else. So I'll let you run with that, and I'll have a few more minutes with the Puerto Rican Prince. And thank you, sir. I look forward to seeing you in the first time in almost 4 months tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Bryce. I'm so excited to be with you tomorrow. And Angel, I'll see you soon, buddy.
All right, then. Well, that was obviously unexpected. And before I get to a few final thoughts with you, and yeah, I think that that's the case, Trinity. Grab a chair because this got interesting. This definitely got interesting. But before we move on, what's your reaction to that? Gabe Sayers bum rushed your interview, your moment to shine on this historic day for you, and it seems like your plans to get picked up are not the plans we thought we had.
It's a positive day. It's a day that we're appreciating the Puerto Rican Prince, is it not? It's a day that we're talking about the accomplishments, the Fight TV, the boxing, all that stuff, and etc. Let's not let somebody who just has so much irrelevancy in his own company take away from that.
Okay. All right. You know what? Let's end. I always say in these cases here, let's end it on a positive. So for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, let's get to a couple of final thoughts here. And obviously let you go party for the rest of the weekend, get you ready for the 21st. I know Mr. Sayers got a comment. We'll come back to that toward the end. But first, what do you want to say to the people that are going to see you at this press conference on February 21st? First part of the last few questions. What can we expect from you on the 21st as final words for people to tune in for?
Personality, charisma, enthusiasm, and a reason to watch on April 27th.
Okay, excellent. And I want to say hello to my buddy, currently in our Hall of Fame, got inducted a couple weeks ago, Mr. Chase Wakefield, the Bitcoin billionaire. Chase, I heard through the grapevine, actually made a huge transaction in Bitcoin, but I won't go too further into that. But congratulations, Chase. And Chase is going to be on tomorrow, by the way. He's going to be on tomorrow night at Versus the World Wrestling's reunion show, VTW Wrestling on YouTube. Again, another great company, just like TF Crew. They got, I think, 5,000 subscribers, just about a little under than that. Go support them. Another great company. So many great talents there. And a lot of guys like Aaron Jones, Chase Wakefield's best friend, is their champion. Thank you for that. And Chase, I look forward to having you on here very soon back on Sportswire. And also, Mr. Santiago is going to join you in the Hall of Fame next time he comes on here. So he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, but he's getting a day first. I think having a day is pretty cool. But let me then ask you for next weekend, the 25th in Glock Cluster, final words to your opponents and to anybody that's going to see you and the rest of Team Venom next week.
Next week, you will see the last time, clearly, that Gabe Sayers and I are on the same page. You will see Team Venom completely unite and destroy GTS, and you will see the Puerto Rican Prince standing with Team Venom and standing with Jimmy Controversy as we all reign supreme.
Well, we certainly like the sound of all that pretty much, but let me ask you one final question, champ, since I really haven't officially asked you this question before I get to closing thoughts. You are the number one contender, after all, to the Pro Wrestling Venom Championship, and I would have to ask you, what would it actually mean to you to be the Pro Wrestling Venom World Heavyweight Champion?
It would mean that I would be a double champion. It would mean that I would be able to once again elevate another company. It would mean that I would open up opportunities to defend the Pro Wrestling Venom Championship in Florida and in all the places that I travel. And it would get the Pro Wrestling Venom World title on Fight TV because I would bring it out with me.
You know what, ladies and gentlemen? We heard a lot tonight from Angel Santiago. We've certainly heard that he's got big plans on the horizon. February 21st, press conference, Celebrity Boxing. Go to celebrityboxing.com for more information. Celebrity Boxing on Instagram. We know this coming next Sunday, the 25th of February in Glock Cluster, New Jersey, Team Venom versus Team GTS 5-on-5. And oh, by the way, Controversy and Anarchy, 4 championships on the line. You're also going to see him defend that TF Crew YouTube Championship against Mikey Anarchy on June 15th. And we're wondering here, after what we heard tonight, is the TF Crew big enough for Mikey Anarchy and Angel Santiago? I don't know that question. Gabe Sayers, I have no doubt, is going to talk a lot about that tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. And plus, I'm going to have an announcement that I'm going to recognize Gabe on behalf of for something, so stay tuned for that. But he gives you that. I don't know if you'll agree with that. Yes, thank you. And I want to say hello to my buddies in TBW, Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. That's my shirt. Thank you, TBW. Thank you for giving me that shirt. I appreciate, well, technically, yes, thank you for giving me that shirt. And I look forward to more TBW coverage. But, champ, I know that you're a busy man. I know you've got a lot planned. It's President's Day weekend. You're probably getting ready to maybe have some more tequila, Patron, Rome, get the ladies going. I know it's in South Beach where you are right now, but let me give you the floor. Let me give you some closing thoughts and anything else you may want to plug, share, or say. And the floor is yours, my friend, and fire away.
The champ would just like to say 2024 is going to be an elating year for the Puerto Rican Prince. I will take every single one of my opponents to the limit. And I promise you right now, just like the last time I was on here and we talked about how I would be a big name from then, I promise you to God that the next time we come back here, I'm pretty sure you're going to be singing my praises again. But we'll see.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you that much. A lot of people were kind of saying, how are you going to be able to keep your YouTube championship against Obey, and everything Obey's done, and you did it, and it was probably one of the more clever ways anybody could retain their championship. So knowing you and getting to know you these past few months, I would certainly not count you out by a long shot. And part of me even says that you might actually be the favorite going into June 15th. Part of me says you're going to be the favorite going into whatever we see you in celebrity boxing. And you very well might be the stir that straws the drink and even the sole survivor of Team Venom and certainly Team GTS and be the reason why Team Venom wins next Sunday in Gloucester, New Jersey. So something tells me here, the Puerto Rican Prince, it was his day after all. And the next time, it's going to be his moment into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame when he's here. My friend, we can follow you in all these great platforms, _Angel the Princess Santiago, _YouTube. This is where you want to follow all your updates with Angel Santiago. It could be matches. It could be promos. It could be highlight reels, whatever else. And if you want to find out more about him, that's the way to get in touch with him. He's got almost 1,000 subscribers. Hit that sub button right now. If you're on YouTube for the first time, go hit that sub button. Also, if you want to empty out the piggy bank, you want to open up the checkbook, Patreon, the Puerto Rican Prince. Support this man. Support everybody that steps out there in the ring. It's all wrestling matters. We support everybody that goes out there in the ring. This man goes out there and does a phenomenal job. He's one of the up-and-coming stars. Jimmy Controversy thinks the world of him. We think the world of him as well. We'll see what he can do, and I'm looking forward to what Mr. Sayers has to say about that all and some. And my friend, congratulations on all of your recent success. I'm looking forward to this press conference. I'm looking forward to hearing more about you in these next coming months. And thank you, as always. Congratulations. And one more time for the audience. On this day, you got that here from Angel Santiago, and we will certainly get that to you, and I'll give it to you off the air. And thank you, champ, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the TF Crew YouTube champion of the world. He is the leader of the syndicate. His name is the Puerto Rican Prince, Angel Santiago, and my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. And on this date, February 17, 2024, on all Sportswire Radio platforms, it is Angel Santiago Day, and I'll be back here with more TF Crew coverage coming up tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Gabe Sayers, of course, our owner of TF Crew, is going to talk about the TF Crew Death Row show. He's going to recap for us what happened at the North Haven Massacre, plus even talk a little bit about Venom and GTS, plus who knows what else is on Mr. Sayers' mind. And also, I will be back here either tomorrow night or even later on this evening, maybe in about 90 minutes with the Nemesis James Taylor. We're going to do play-by-play of a match of his regardless. But until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio. And if you're on sportswireradio.org, you're going back to your regularly scheduled program. And if you're on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter, Gabe Sayers tomorrow. Stay tuned for more if James Taylor comes on. But until then, thank you, everybody, and all.